Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you very much, Aurora. Our first speaker tonight is Tan Tai. Over the past 14 years in this club, Tan has taken on and or observed each of the meeting roles hundreds of times. He has learned a little bit about each of the roles and how to be successful at it. With the recent influx of new members, he wants to add value to them by giving his educational speech titled The Roles in a Toastmasters Meeting. This is his personal take on what each of the roles is and how to succeed in it. While what is shared in his speech is mostly intended for a Toastmaster meeting, Dan invites you to consider that some of the nuggets he is going to share can easily be used in your personal and professional life outside of Toastmasters. Dan is asking for 8 to 10 minutes. Please put your hands together for our VP of Membership, Tan Tai, here to speak on the roles in a Toastmasters meeting. But before you give the round of applause, I want to remind you, please mute yourself if you're not the speaker, so there's no interruptions. Again, please welcome Tan Tai.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, good evening. I want to start with the last slide of my deck, and that is the takeaways. Now, if you're not going to remember anything else in this speech, I want you to have these 4 takeaways. And that is, it is not about you. For any of these roles that you take on in a Toastmasters meeting, it is not about you. It is about you being here, you being the light, you being here to add values to others. And so if you focus on that and the task itself, it will take away the pressure of you trying to be perfect. And it will allow you to be present and add values to others. And of course, it needs preparation. You cannot give or share anything that you have not prepared. So for any of these roles, you want to prepare for them. So those are the 4 takeaways that if you could keep in the back of your mind as we progress through this presentation and see how they can apply to each one of those roles for you. The meeting opener. Now, this is not an official role. It is something I actually created about, I want to say 7 or 8 years ago when I was the president. And I would start the meeting with a short motivational and inspirational story to set the tone for our meeting. And over the years, fortunately, all of our leaders who have come after have chosen to keep this role. And that's why now we have an opener role. And so if you are the opener, you want to say something that would set the tone for the meeting in 1 to 2 minutes max. The Toastmasters role. Now, this is the highest and most important role in this meeting. And you are not important. Now, to be clear, you are very important to your family, friends, and to every one of us in here. And when you're the Toastmaster, you're not that important. You're here to serve others. I see a lot of times Toastmasters try to make it so much about themselves that they have so much to say in the introduction, in front of every section of our meeting, that ends up taking up a lot of time, valuable time, that could have left for others to give their speech, to take a chance at the table topic portion. So your goal should be to say as little as possible and move the meeting forward and stay on track with that time. Now, of course, you are the facilitator, and so you are the one putting all the pieces together. So if someone doesn't show up as a speaker, you get to decide who's going to do that. Are you going to open it up for someone else to do a pocket speech, or are we going to do an extended table topic portion? You get to decide. And of course, you have to prepare for the position. Before the meeting, you want to reach out to all of the participants, make sure they confirm with you that they're going to be here to play that role. If they don't, then you have to connect with someone else to get a replacement. Now, during the meeting, you also want to be prepared because you have to know who's coming up next. What's the introduction going to be? Prepare, prepare, prepare. As a speaker, your goal is to grow or help others grow. So then you would want to speak if you say you would. And you cannot share what you have not prepared and make it count. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you're going to sign up to give a speech, you should make it count by preparing for that speech. And if you're going to prepare, then let's make it count by reaching out to your evaluator and letting them know what you are working on so that they can help you grow. And if you're already preparing for the speech and going to give that speech, might as well share with the rest of the club, invite them to come to support you and provide that feedback for you. As an evaluator, your goal is to add value to the speaker. You are here to evaluate, not to reiterate or have a conversation about the topic. What I see a lot of new evaluators do is to reiterate exactly what the person has said. Oh, he talked about this, he talked about that, and then this. I have breaking news for you. We were all there with you listening to the speaker. We heard them. You don't need to retell us what the person spoke about. Rather, use that valuable time to provide a valuable evaluation for the person. How are you going to do that? Well, you want to ask the question, how can I help the speaker grow? How can I add value to the person? And then you want to use that sandwich method. And for those of you who don't know the sandwich method, imagine a piece of sandwich. There's that bread, and then there's the meat, and then there's another piece of bread. And for our health conscious audience, there's the lettuce, there's the grass-fed beef, and then there's the lettuce. So the lettuce and the beef, the lettuce and the bread is the positive feedback about the speech. And then the grass-fed beef is the constructive feedback. And then you finish up with something great about the speech as well. Now, when it comes to constructive feedback, in addition to telling the person where they can improve, you want to supplement that by how they can improve. Don't just tell them that they need improvement. Suggest something that they could try to do to make that improvement. And then lastly, feel free to challenge the speaker, of course. If this is something that you really want the person to do, challenge them. Next time they could do better. You cannot give what you do not have. It's going back to preparing for this. Reach out to the speaker to make sure you know what the speaker wants to work on and help them by providing the evaluation per the request of the speaker. Table topic master. You're here to let everybody else speak. Anyone who does not have a role in the meeting tonight should get an opportunity to speak when you're up. And so it's about everybody else but you. So don't be up here and give a bunch of introduction about the speech or the topic and then give a short intro in every single prompt. There's no need for that. Your goal is to get as many people to come up to take that opportunity or have that opportunity to speak impromptu. So give your prompt, move out of the way, and let the speaker have the floor. You want to use your judgment. Why? Because if this is a newer member, you want to give them the opportunity to succeed. And so give them an easier question. Now, if it is someone who's seasoned, like Joseph, Aurora, Jim, by all means, challenge them. And then you do want to include the guests. I would suggest that you have a few people in the club speak first and then have the guests come up so that they see how it's done. Timer. You are here to help all of us hone in on our timing skill. So you want to time and you want to prepare. Because if this is going to be a Zoom meeting, you want to get those backgrounds ready. If it is in person, you have to show up early so that you learn how to use that timing device. And then focus. This job is actually pretty tough because sometimes you get carried away listening to the speeches. So you really have to focus on that timer so that you can provide the right time. The general evaluator is like the second most important role in this meeting because you're here to elevate the performance of our club. And so you are here to evaluate, and again, not to recount. And you have to pay very close attention so that you can provide a specific evaluation and provide ideas on how we can improve as a club. So there you have it, all the various roles in a Toastmasters meeting. And the 4 takeaways are, once again, it is not about you. It's about everybody else but you. So you are here to be the light, here to add values to others. And guess what? When you're here working to add values to everybody else, and everybody else is doing the same thing, adding values right back to you. So it's a win-win-win all around for us if our club can just focus on serving each other. Last but not least, of course, you cannot give what you have not prepared. So you want to prepare for every single role that you take on. I hope this is of value to you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.